going to come upon us. In March 1996, a so-called self-identified skinhead, a soldier in the United States Army, was convicted for arbitrarily murdering a black couple to prove himself a loyal Nazi.
That's right.
The nation turned a petrified gaze on Monroe's self-defense actions. Government and establishment representatives lost no time condemning Williams and pressuring African Americans to do likewise. The NAACP appears to have been too willing to comply with the pressure they were feeling, withdrawing financial support from the Monroe chapter when it was desperately needed, and undermining Williams' leadership, vilifying him in the national press, and finally suspending him from office as the local president of the NAACP. That the NAACP national leadership acted on behalf of the so-called liberal power structure to police Williams and the Monroe community holds another lesson for us. Williams was one of the first African American leaders with the courage to say publicly, quote, "There must be a struggle within our own ranks to take leadership away from the black Quislings who betray us," end of quote. Many African Americans and our leaders are in deep denial concerning the tragic status of the majority of our population. It is still easy for some to pretend that racism, discrimination, and control of government by private corporations are not causative factors in the wide-scale poverty, unemployment, disease, homelessness, stupendous incarceration rates for black males, the flow of drugs and weapons in our community, and the fratricide among our youth. To advance their own political careers, some black leaders form alliances with those whose policies sabotage the very community-building efforts we make as African Americans. With only recent access to halls of power in cities where we are the majority, African Americans are reluctant to denounce the leaders who sell them out. This was 1998 that I was writing. Of course, we've had those offices for a long time now. Many of the leaders have sold very well. Right? I'm so happy we have Honorable Councilwoman JoAnn Watson and of course Congressman Conyers here still funding on behalf. We don't want to split ranks to air dirty laundry for national television, even when matters of justice and human rights are at stake. We love our brothers and sisters, and it's hard to attack them publicly. But what social advances are we sacrificing through such duplicity when we don't call them out? Williams' book inspires us to find a stronger collective backbone and get busy. I'm almost done. Negroes with Guns raises yet another unresolved issue, the devaluation and degradation of African American women by the larger society. A few cases cited by Williams concern the Monroe community's attempt to protect black women from racist, sexist attacks. These cases illustrate sharply the dehumanizing ways in which African American women have been viewed and treated historically. Racist white men in Monroe and throughout the South took for granted that they could disrespect black women, exploit them, assault them at will, impelled by anger or lust. Though contemporary activists and scholars have focused a good deal of their energy on eradicating the negative images associated with black women and healing some of the wounds of historic abuse, we have not yet been able to get rid of the stereotypes which provide Euro-American society a rationalization for its degradation of African American women. In terms of a legacy of struggle, perhaps Williams' most significant contribution was his effort to situate the African American liberation struggle in the context of the entire world. He rejected labels that would frame the movement in too narrow terms. He was a humanist and an internationalist, someone who identified with all the world's oppressed, He enlightened them about us and us about them. He was our liaison, pulling us onto the world stage and out of the confines of the civil rights struggle. Williams knew that the African American movement of the 1960s was part of the post-World War II movement of people of color worldwide who fought off foreign rule and all forces that constrained their freedom. In developing solidarity with peoples of Cuba, Vietnam, China, and other third world countries, Williams offered a model of 21st century internationalism. A man of immense personal courage and vision, and also Mother Mabel right along there with him. Together they give us a sacred model of the partners, a partnership in struggle, consistently resisting oppression and taking care of each other and their family. Mother Mabel, you are so, so, so beloved and valuable to us. A man of immense personal courage and vision, Williams foresaw before the cycle of urban rebellions that began with Watts that there would be many more racial explosions in the days to come. Monroe was just the beginning. His prediction must be reflected upon, for racism continues to fracture American society. Violence still pervades every aspect of our lives, and government's so-called law enforcement policies steadily erode our human rights. One may be certain that the question of self-defense is going to emerge again for national discussion. Brother Jim.